Jai Gurudev children. So today we are going to study about few more terms. So first of all, we are going to study about the taxonomic category. Then we are going to study about the taxonomic hierarchy. And lastly, we will study about the taxonomical aids. So now first let us talk about the taxonomic category. So in the board, if you see here, just simply I have written the taxonomic categories. So here taxonomic categories means grouping of organisms based on their similarities. If two, three organisms are having some similar characters, they are grouped under one particular category. And again, similar like this type of group, if two, three groups are again, if they are having some similarities at higher level, two, three groups combine together to form one bigger categories. So in that way, the groupings are done. And each of this group, commonly it is known as taxonomic category, but at different level, each of these categories are known by different names, like the kingdom, class, family, order. So this much about the taxonomic category. So taxonomic category, it's nothing, a particular group having some similar characteristic among them. Now next you will come across another term, that is the taxonomic hierarchy. Now taxonomic hierarchy means arrangement of living organism into successive level of biological classification, either in the increasing order or in the decreasing order. So here what does it means? That no doubt here, if you see in the board, I have written kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So these are the names given to different groups of organism. So when this groupings or when the arrangements are done, the arrangements are done in a systematic order or in a proper arrangement it is done, where either it may be in the decreasing order or it may be in the increasing order. Now decreasing means, here you just see I have drawn one triangle also. You just see here just one letter I have written. At the base of this triangle, it is represented by the letter K. So K means this part, it is represented by the kingdom. So at kingdom level, the number of organisms are much more. But among those organisms, it was found some dissimilarities. So as a result, that huge group was divided into some smaller group which are termed as the phylum. So now it's becoming little bit smaller. Then again, a particular phylum further, their dissimilarities are there among the organisms which are included in one particular phylum. So they were further divided into smaller group which are termed as the class. So like that, what? The grouping means one bigger group was divided and ultimately they have come to this top level which is almost the smaller. Further, this particular group, it can't be divided. That is the species level. So that means what? Species is considered as the lowest rank and the kingdom, it is considered as the highest rank. And here the number of individual will be much more compared to the number of individual in a particular species level. So it is denoted, or that whole taxonomic hierarchy, it can be represented by a triangular. And here the term it is used, the taxonomic hierarchy means the systematic arrangement of this group either in decreasing order. Decreasing order, we can say if we start from kingdom to species. And it is said to be in increasing order if we start from species and gradually to the kingdom. So accordingly, it is classified. And now another thing you have to remember that each of this group in a particular this hierarchy, this phylum also represent one taxonomic category, or the family is also one taxonomic category. So this much you have to know about the taxonomic hierarchy. Now, along with it, in your book, there various examples are given to explain each of this category. What do you mean by species? What is genus? What is family? Or what is kingdom? So when by chance in exam, if you get such question, the easiest way to explain, now here I am showing you another way of defining those various terms. Now you just see here, now this is the taxonomic hierarchy or the various classifications of organism from the kingdom level to the species level. And here the one example, I have some example I have taken. I will explain gradually. First, you see this figure. Now, here you just see this whole rectangular structure you imagine as the living organism. Living organism means I'm not talking about one individual. All the organisms which are considered as living. But among them, difference were there. So they were classified into two groups. That is, one is the plants kingdom and the other one, this one forms the animals kingdom, where I have written just A. In short, I have written A kingdom. Now, let us concentrate on this animal kingdom. Now, within this kingdom, no doubt it includes all the animals, but still many differences are there. So because of those differences, that animal kingdom were divided into phylum. So here just I have drawn this one line, means just dividing this whole square into two triangular structure. But when you will study in your book, you will get 11 phylum. That means the animal kingdom is divided into 11 phylum based on their dissimilarities. Now, just take us one, means let us take one particular phylum. So within that particular phylum, if you consider this whole triangle as one phylum, among them also difference are there. So further, the phylum, it was divided into some smaller group which are termed as the class. So you just see this one, ultimately, this phylum, it is divided into two classes. Now here I am taking only one phylum. So the classification may, in some group, the phylum may have more than two class also. So that I am not talking, but just to explain how the phylum had given rise to class or to family or to species, that to explain that only I am showing this diagram. So now this whole triangle is divided into two smaller triangles. Each of them, they are known as class. Now you take one particular class group. So it also includes many organisms, but among them still some difference are there. So as a result, the class, it was divided into further smaller group known as the order. So this is the order in short, and small letter I have written. You can see here I have written order. So that means this triangle represent one order and this is also another order. So that means one triangle, that is this whole class, it is divided into two smaller groups. Now you concentrate only in this particular group. That means this particular order. So here also it includes many organisms. Among them, again, difference are there. So further, this order, it is divided into smaller group known as the family. So family full word I haven't written, just I have written F. F means the family. So this one order, it is divided into two family. It may be more also, but to explain, I am showing only two family. Then again, now you take this particular family whole group triangle. Again, among them, some difference are there. So as a result, the families are divided into smaller group, which are known as the genus. that means G I have written, only G. So if you take this particular triangle and this particular triangle, they represent two genus. Then again, you just take one triangle of this genus group. Here also many individuals are there. So among them, the similarities are there. And ultimately, the genus, it is divided further into smaller group known as the species. So if you see, you just see the size of the species as I have written. Now, the size is very small, almost minute structure. Further, it is impossible to divide into, again, into smaller. So that's why it is said that the species is the lowest rank. Means further it can't be classified into simpler form. But still some exceptions are there in some organism where varieties of at species level, varieties type are there, and in such case they are having the subspecies. So that one already in the last class I have explained about the trinomial nomenclature. So trinomial nomenclature means individual having three names and where the third name is the species. So the example I have given about the China rose. So exceptions are there in some, but in majority of them, species is the lowest rank. Further, they can't be divided into smaller group. So here just it explains how that one huge group or the whole living organisms were classified into two groups, then how the animals kingdom were divided, and ultimately it is simplified up to the species level. So just through this diagram, I want to show how the classifications are done. But one thing you should know, that it's not that a particular family will have only one genus. It may have more than one. So it differs in different individuals or in different phylum. So then now by chance in exam, you are asked to define class. How you are going to give the definition of class. So two ways you can give the definitions of class if you know this systematic arrangement of the various group. So one way you can write 2-3 orders having similar characters combined together to form one bigger group which is known as the class, and you can give the example. Or you can say that phylum, within a phylum many organisms are there which are having some dissimilarities. So according to their dissimilarities, that one single phylum, it was divided into some smaller group known as the class. So in this two way, you can give the definition of the class. Now, to explain this whole thing, again, I have taken one example. So you just see now the example I have taken of the animals. So I have started from the lowest level, that is the species level. You all know lion and tiger, all of you are familiar with, and their scientific name is, for lion it is Panthera leo, and for tiger it is the Panthera tigris. So Leo and species, Leo and tigris are the two different species, but they are having the common genus, that is the Panthera. So that means at genus level, lion and tiger have similarities. So ultimately, they fall under one particular group, that is the Panthera. Then along with it, here you just see I have taken another genus, that is the Felis. And under Felis, cat group is included. But this cat group, or you can say Felis and Panthera, have similarities at the family level. So that means this Panthera and Felis, they combine together to form one bigger group, that is the Felidae. But along with it, other families are there, where one family is the Canidae, which include the animal dog. Now, this Canidae and Felidae, they have similarities at the order level, and that's why these two groups, that is Felidae and Canidae, combine together to form one bigger group that is known as the carnivora. Now, along with carnivora, at order level, other groups are there. So here I have taken primates, which includes apes, even human beings too are included. Now, these carnivora and primates have some similarities, and they fall under one bigger group that is the class. At class level, they have similarities. They are known as mammalia. And mammalia, all of you know, one common character is that they give birth to their young one. Then at the class level, there are even other groups are also there, like the amphibia, even aves are there. Many other groups are there. But this mammalia and amphibia, they too have some similarities at the phylum level. So they fall under one bigger group, that is the chordata. So chordata means we can say the vertebral column. They have the vertebral column. So in that way, they are similar. Now, again, phylum, besides chordata, many invertebrates too are there, which are classified as porifera, arthropoda, many are there. Now, but this chordata, porifera, now here just two examples I have taken. Among them also some similarities are there, and ultimately they are included in one larger group, that is the animal kingdom. So here we can say that how they are one common character, we can say that all are heterotrophs. That means they can't prepare their food, they have to depend upon others. So in that way, ultimately, all this group, they falls under one bigger group, that is the animal kingdom. So in this way, the classifications were done. So now this much about the taxonomic hierarchy. Now next is the herbarium sheet. Okay, herbarium sheet now, which includes under the taxonomical aids. Now here the taxonomical aids means the tools which we use to identify an organism which for a particular individual it may be unfamiliar, or it may be one new organism which is totally unknown for all. So various tools are used. Out of them, one is the herbarium, next one zoo, botanical garden, museum, key, flora, manual, monograph, and catalog. So these are the various ways by which it helps us to identify a particular organism. Now, out of them, the first one, herbarium sheet. Now, this is used to identify a particular plants. Say, for example, you have gone somewhere else, you have come across a particular plant and you want to know. And maybe at that moment, it is impossible for you to know. Or maybe at that time, you are not having the mobile, you can't bring the picture. So what to do? You can't bring the whole plant, it is a tree. So what you have to do, just bring a part of it, a bunch of it, and you bring it at home, keep it inside the book properly, so till it becomes totally dry. So when it is dry, you put it in a white sheet. So just to show you all, I'm just bringing here. Okay, this one is not the dry. Say for example, this particular plants, I want to know it properly. So maybe the local name I know, but other things I don't know. So what I have to do, I can't bring, it is a huge plant, a tree, it is a tree. So a part of it I have bought. Now at home, I will bring and I will put it in a paper like this, not directly in a paper. First, I have to put it inside a what you can say book till it becomes dry. So when it is dry, maybe for 1 week you have to keep, and when it is dry, you take a white sheet, usually chart papers are there. There you have to paste it properly. After that, while collecting the particular plants, few information you have to note down. One is the place from where you have collected. If you know the common name, that common name, time of collection, as well as month, So those things you have to collect. So after that plants is dried, and after pasting it on a white sheet, you write all the data which you have collected, and then cover it with a cellophane paper, and then you submit this to an expert. So then the expert, maybe for him at that moment he can give you all the information, or he too may have to undergo studies, and after that you will get all the information. So in that way, one unknown plant for you, it become easy for you all to get the information if you can bring the same sample in this pattern. So that much about the herbarium. The next is the zoological part, or zoo. So there what you can say, for example, you have to do a project on a particular animal. It is a wild animals. No doubt, written information you can collect it from the book. But if you want to have more detail, their habitat, it is impossible for you to go to the jungle. So in the zoo, you can visit, you can get all the information required in similar type of condition. So in that way, about particular animals, you can get information. The next, you have the botanical garden. So there you will get all the informations of the plant about which you want to get the information. By looking means where you can view it by yourself, the real thing, and ultimately you can come to a particular conclusion. Then the next one is the museum. So museum, there you are not going to get living species, but that or preserved species of both the plants and animals. And in that way, you can get information. Then the next one is the key. Now this one is little bit new for you all. Now key, this is not a key that lock and key, but is a technique to know one totally unknown organism. So there means to identify always. Now here I have given one one example I have shown here just to explain what the key it explains. Say for example, you have come across a particular organism. One idea you have that it is the animal. Other than that, you don't know what it is. So then how you are going to identify? So for identifying like this, the certain characters are present in paired form. And that means out of these two characters, one will be applicable and the other one you have to eliminate. So first what? In the first one you just see, it is say external ear is present. Then you observe that organism. If it is present, then you have to go to point 2. But if it is absent, then you have to come to point 3. Then next in 2 point, can fly. So if it can fly, it is a bat. If it cannot fly, it is a cat. But if this thing doesn't, then you have to go to point 3. So here, can fly, it may be bird. Cannot fly, you have to go to point 4. So in point 4, again, 2 options are there. Have limbs. If limbs are there, it is a frog. If limb absent, then you have to go to point 5. So in point 5, you have gills, gills absent. So if gills is present, it is a fish. If gill is absent, then it is a snake. So that means ultimately you will come to a particular conclusion. So in key, always the characters are given in the form of pair. So this one pair, it represents couplet. And in this, each of this statement, they are known as lead. So out of these two, one will be for that specimen, the other will be against. So for that specimen, you are going to accept, and then you see here what the hints are given. And accordingly, you have to proceed. So just by eliminating one character, ultimately you will come to a particular conclusion. So in this way also, a totally unknown organism can be identified. So these are the main key aids or the tools explained. Beside this, in your book, few more terms are given. One is flora, manual, monograph, catalog. So these are also in the form of book it is given, but some difference are there. In flora, it is a book consisting the information of all the plants present in a particular area. Then the manual is also a book consisting the information of all the species, either plants or animals of a particular area. And monograph means it describes only one group or one taxon of a particular area. So in this way, these three differ. That means for flora, only plants they describe. For manual, both plants and animals of one particular area. And for monograph, only one particular taxon or one group they define. Then the last one, catalog, it is the listing of all the organisms till now, means it has been identified, and those are explained or listed alphabetically. So whenever we have to get certain information through this book also, we can get lots of information. So in this way, in this whole chapter, they have explained how the living organism have been classified up to species level, and while classifying them, what are the tools used. So this much only in this chapter. You go through it. Again, we will see, means like how first you all go through this flora, manual, monograph, their difference. Very often questions are asked for 1 mark. What are the difference? How manual is different from monograph. So those things we have to study, and next class we will do the various type of question related to this topic. So this much for today. Thank you. Jai Gurudev.